Amazing. The Adventure of the Unbreakable Speckled Band.
In a corner of that small, dark room, Sholmes and I waited with bated breath.
Amaze.
In time, there came from the ventilator a hiss and a soft, almost growl-like sound. Suddenly, Sholmes sprang into action, lashing furiously with his cane at a point in the darkness. "You see it, Wilson?" he yelled, his tense voice reverberating through the air. I raised my dark lantern shutter, and the room slowly came into view. Sholmes was staring intently at one particular corner when he started whispering to me. The victim's most perplexing final words. The Speckled Band.
Oh, I thought this was going to be a theft, like
I
someone
believe
stole
this
the
is
Speckled
terrible
Band.
coil to which you referred, Wilson. In front of us was an enormous adder, its fangs bared as it threatened to strike. It truly was the most terrible Speckled Band I had ever seen.
It's a shame Wilson is dead. What with? Well, Winslow finds out he's gonna be mad. Who's Wilson? Chief Electrician. Wilson's dead. Yo.
So then, let us unravel this mystery and discover what events led to this curious.
He sounds so cool.
Pray, do excuse me. The cabin door was bolted from the inside when the man was killed. No marks to suggest the bolt was tampered with in any way. So, this would appear to be a locked room mystery. In his final moments, the victim scrawled a message on the floor.
Listen, I'm not gay or
Almost certainly
bisexual,
with the
but
ink from this upset bottle.
man, this guy just so stylish.
So the victim was a Russian man then, and the letters are well formed, suggesting he was compos mentis at the time. This is a most extraordinary script, and evidently not penned by the same hand as this message. In fact, I deduce it was written by someone of a different nationality.
Evidence
Seal was
gone.
placed just prior to the incident by the victim himself, I would venture. Well, what have we here?
Who are you, and what do you think you're doing here?
No one must touch before maritime police come. We must wait.
That won't be necessary. You see, in less than 5 seconds from now, I will reveal the killer to you.
What? Don't be absurd. This is murder. I need cabin locked from inside.
Ah yes, the locked room. But that mystery is paper thin.
You don't mean the culprit is in there?
Clearly, this is before evidence gloves were invented.
Who are you, and where have you come from?
I'm a great British consultant detective, the only one in the world. Herlock Sholmes. I presume you must have heard of me.
I gotta. Whoop whoop. Sorry. Ugh, my head is throbbing. Ugh. I'm sitting on a cushion, but I like to play games while cross-legged, so don't think that would be conducive. Ugh. What's going on? Something's not right here. There's trouble in the air. This is going to be our first case where we have investigation, so... Wait, I can't move! Ah! What the? Why am I in handcuffs? You just can't get out of trouble. So, hey you, you're finally awake. You are trying to cross the... We had to drag you out of the wardrobe. I do not believe, or you could not wake up. You are a true cold-blooded man. You... You found me then. Ah, we found you. And now you pay. Criminal. How long are you hiding in that tiny wardrobe, Sorry. Now you have been found, it is time to admit your crimes. Unless you want to find out how cold the ocean is, huh? No, I'll tell you everything. So one thing I'd like to know from you. Huh? Isn't that... Oh, hey, Susato. Why did you do it? Why did you take his life? Miss Susato? Wait, what did you just say? Take his life? Are you just going to be framed for murder in every case? Like, Phoenix Wright got framed for murder in the first game. That was only for one trial, right? One case. That was only one case. And it wasn't even the entire case. It was only, like, the second half of the case. Where is he? Where's Kazuma? Oh my god, don't say it.
Ha! You pretend you do not know? You are a wolf in the sheep's belt.
I'm not good at Russian accents, guys.
You are the killer. Do not try to make it...
I was right. Kazuma's dead! Kazuma-sama's body was discovered not long ago. Here, in this very cabin, that was bolted shut from the inside. His body?
Please, do not try to tell us you are doing this terrible thing in your sleep.
I'm just gonna not try with the Russian accents. You know, HBO's Chernobyl didn't try with the Russian accents either. Ayo! Kazuma's dead? But he can't be. And these handcuffs. Surely you don't think I have to know. Why did you take Kazuma-sama's life? Answer me, please! I didn't do it. No. No! Kazuma, it was just 2 short weeks ago. Are you sure about this? Won't we get in trouble? Ha 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 ha! Don't you find it fun being a stowaway? Besides, how else could you come to England with me to study? I don't know, buy a ticket? It was really something else when they brought your luggage in here earlier, though. The way that Russian crewman just tossed your traveling case onto the floor? I thought I was gonna die. Yes, I still can't quite believe that. I really didn't think you'd be able to fit inside my trunk. Okay, can you think of anything gayer than bringing along another dude as a stowaway? You must be even less of a man than you look. Hey, honestly, I thought I'd broken every bone in my body. Doomed Yowie. Well, it's about 50 days until we dock in Great Britain. But if you confine yourself to my cabin here, I don't expect anyone will discover you. I hope not. I get the feeling those Russians wouldn't be very forgiving of a stowaway. They're a sturdy bunch, that's for sure. What I want to know is, why do we need to keep it a secret from the young lady? From our faithful judicial assistant Mikotaba, you mean? From your close friend, more to the point. Surely we could confide in her, couldn't we? I don't believe she'd give me away. No, but if she knew what we'd done, that would make her guilty by association. It's best that only you and I know about this. I suppose so. Anyway, it's about the time that the steward is supposed to come in and clean the cabin. I know it's cramped, but you'd better get in there, I think. It won't be for long. And anyway, compared to hiding inside my traveling case, it'll be a breeze. Yes, but what if the steward decides to open the wardrobe for some reason? Then I'll be in for it. Stop worrying. I tell you what, why don't you write keep out or something on this piece of paper? What? That would just make it even more suspicious. Then I can stick it over the wardrobe doors once you're inside. I don't know. We've only been at sea for about 15 days. How can this have happened? We were supposed to be going on this adventure to England together.
We leave you at next port. Stay quiet until then. Don't make more trouble for yourself.
Can't exactly persecute him. Can't exactly prosecute him because we're on international waters.
Murderer.
No! I'm not a murderer!
Duh, you said before. You said you admit everything about your crimes.
No, I didn't. That's not right. I did store on the ship, but murder my best friend.
No one else could have done it. Admit the truth.
Susato-san. Please, tell me what happened. I need to know. Very well. But there is something I would like to ask of you too. Ugh, those eyes. She looks like she's ready to destroy me. This nightmare is getting worse by the minute. I suppose all I can do is try to find out what really happened. Kazuma, how'd he die? Hey, he really has been killed, hasn't he? This isn't just a bad dream. And these handcuffs. They think I did it? They think I'm Kazuma's killer? Stop asking. When they found him, the cabin was locked from the inside. What do you mean? There's no access to the cabin via portable window, and the bolt on the door can't be operated from outside. In other words, after the crime, the culprit couldn't have escaped these four walls. What? Or to put it another way, the culprit can only have been somebody inside this cabin. Or do you have some other explanation? This is impossible. How did he die then? What happened exactly? Are you still going to deny the charge, even despite the circumstances? Please, Susato-san, you have to tell me. There are 3 solutions to the locked room mystery. 1, the killer is still inside the room, which is why they suspect you, okay? 2, the killer leaves through a secret exit, like perhaps that vent in the upper left corner. 3, the killer leaves the room during the commotion. The cause of death is still undetermined. They don't know how he died? The ship's doctor examining the body, but of course he has no post-mortem analysis experience. Great, amateurs. I don't suppose we shall learn more until an expert has been consulted at our next port of call. So presumably that means there were no obvious external signs of injury then? That's true, yes. Can't anyone tell me what actually happened here in this cabin? I don't understand it. Why would anyone want to kill Kazuma? Presumably that's something you know the answer to better than anyone else. Please. Whatever you say, you were here in the cabin after all. Well, yes, I was, but... He would always wake before dawn to do his training, first thing in the morning. Is that a mousetrap? I was waiting outside his cabin, as I have every day so far on his voyage. But this morning, he did not come. I could sense that he wouldn't. Does that mean he was already dead when Susato-san arrived at his cabin door, I wonder? I knocked, but there was no reply. Then I started to become worried, so I went to find a member of the crew. The crewman forced the door open, and when we managed to get inside... Oh! A body has been discovered! Wow, you did a terrible job at drawing the outline. And the white tape there now shows exactly where it was found, I suppose. We found a pool of the victim's blood. Gross. Mop it up. I had no idea anything had happened. I must have been asleep in the wardrobe somehow. I wish it wasn't the case, but that's just very hard to believe. This is all very hard to believe for me, too. Trust me. Now I've told you everything that I know. So it's my turn to ask you a question. Yes, alright. Ugh, my head feels so heavy. It's still throbbing like anything. Listen, why are you even on board the ship, Naruhodo-san? You said something before about being a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, yes. I'm afraid that's true. It's 2 weeks since we left Japan now, and I've been shut up in this cabin the entire time. I had no idea. But how could you have occupied Kazuma-sama's cabin for so long without him noticing? No, that would have been impossible, obviously. Yes, of course. Cosma invited me. He wanted us to go to England together. Clearly not so much that he would have bought you a ticket. He actually asked you? But why? I'm afraid I don't really know the reason myself. No, I mean, why didn't he just buy a ticket? I don't understand. Well, have you seen the cost of these tickets? This is before the fucking Russian Revolution. Everything... Cosma, why do you want to do this? What's the real reason? Why go to such extreme lengths to smuggle me to England with you? It's an idea that's been on my mind ever since the end of that incredible trial. I think I told you then, didn't I? That you ought to become a lawyer yourself. Well, yes, you did say that, but I didn't think you were serious. You have a talent for it, I can assure you of that. But I've never really thought about becoming a lawyer. Well, that's something you can decide for yourself. London is at the spearhead of cultural development, the center of the world in many ways. That's just... dumb. There can't be any harm in seeing an important place with your own eyes, can there? Well, no, definitely not. But on a personal level, if you were to become a lawyer, then... Then what? Nothing. Forget it. Oh, okay. Kazuma-sama's... He was always saying the same thing. That he wanted to change the Japanese legal system. Perhaps he thought that he could do that with you. Yes, maybe. But something's still bothering me a little. I wonder if I can still... Audio... It's probably in the extras. Definitely in the extras. The look in his eyes, then. It was darker than I've ever seen it before. Susato-san. I'm sorry that we kept it a secret from you. My stowing away on the ship, I mean. If I know Kazuma-sama, I expect he was trying to protect me, to avoid me becoming guilty by association. That's exactly right, yes! Word perfect, in fact. If you're not the culprit, then tell me, what happened last night here in this cabin? Well, the thing is, I don't really remember. Kazuma brought me something to eat just like he always did. And then I got myself into that wardrobe over there, just like I always did. After that, I fell asleep. Well, yes. So deeply that you didn't even stir when Kazuma-sama was killed? Well, yes. Doubt. I know it sounds unbelievable. Really, I do, but it's the truth. If only I'd woken up, then perhaps I wouldn't be in this predicament. And for some reason, my head's still throbbing like anything. Really? Is something wrong? Oh, no, it's... Please forget it. Susato-san, you have to believe me! I didn't do it! I really don't want to doubt you. But the trouble is, there's no one else who could possibly have done this. Isn't there a presumption of innocence in... Oh, wait, no! England also doesn't have a presumption of innocence! Cosma, I don't understand. Why? Why did this have to happen? Why couldn't you have just not died? Like, just say, no, thank you. Just choose not to die. I can't take this. Don't try to go anywhere. You're the perpetrator of this crime. You can't leave. I can't allow that to happen. I'm sorry, but Cosmo was killed right under my nose here, and I didn't do anything to stop it. And now I'm supposed to just sit around? My hands tied? Chained. While whoever did this walks free? No, I can't allow that to happen! Well, what do you propose to do then? I'm going to investigate. I'm going to find out exactly what happened here. I'm going to work out who took Cosmo's life, and how, and why they did it. So I'm sorry, but you're going to have to excuse me. Hiya! Damn. What the? That was a Susato takedown. A Susato what now? A sus? What martial art form is that? I'm going to need you to prove it. Sorry? Prove it? Yes, your innocence. I need evidence. Okay, just dust the body for fingerprints. Clearly, it's impossible that Mai would have left any fingerprints on it, so just show it. What the fuck do you mean, fingerprints? Oh, fuck, this is before fingerprints were invested. But how am I supposed to... Have you forgotten already what you achieved just a few weeks ago? You successfully defended yourself in a court of law. Ah, I see. She'd expect me to present some conclusive evidence. I have to get Susato-san to believe me. I'll show her some evidence right now that proves I'm not guilty of this awful crime. My university collar pin. Nah, it's gotta be this. Keep out in Japanese, though I'm not sure the Russian crew can actually read it. This is a paper seal I wrote for the wardrobe. I remember it working really hard to make it. But I'll never forget how Cosmo reacted. Do you expect the Russian crew to be able to read that? He said. Still, I was sure people would get the idea, even if they couldn't read it. So we used it anyway. And it worked. I don't know if the crew thought it was creepy or what, but no one opened the doors. Well, I mean, even if you could understand it. You can see the remnants of glue we used to stick this over the wardrobe doors. Although it wasn't proper glue, of course, we didn't have any of that with us. So I pulverized some rice into a paste to use instead. But to a stowaway like me, every single grain of rice represents precious rations. That's why I spread it as thinly as I possibly could. I couldn't bear to waste any. It's gotta be this. I don't know why this would be proof.
Yes!
Tell me, when I was discovered in the wardrobe before, was this piece of paper stuck over the doors? Oh, yes, it was. I remember clearly. I thought so. Cosmo always puts it in place whenever I went to sleep in there. Just in case the cabin steward or another crew member decided to look inside. So naturally, he did the same last night as well. Huh. Yes, of course. The gentleman who discovered you peeled that sign from the wardrobe doors before he opened them. But if I were truly the culprit, I couldn't have climbed back inside the wardrobe and stuck this on the outside of the doors on my own. Yes, that's quite true. If he did... How did he tie the knot from the outside of the bag? My client wasn't... By this... the Henry Stickmin Phoenix, right? In other words, it's impossible that I killed Kazuma. Well, even if you are sprawled hopelessly on the floor, I can see why Kazuma-sama thought so highly of you. Thank you, Susato-san. Now, do you think perhaps you could help me up? Well, in the light of that evidence, I don't see any reason why I should stop you from investigating in here at least. Thank you! So you finally believe me? Nope. What? I'm not sure yet. I can't rule out the possibility that you used some sort of conjuring trick to put the sign back in position. You could have just put the sign on the door before you went into the closet. Like, is that, like... What? What does she think I am, a magician? Like, you could have just put the sign on the door. It's not that... Like, I don't know what you're trying to... Seriously, for now, I suggest you investigate as thoroughly as possible in here. I'll do the same. Alright, let's get to work, Susato-san! Please don't misunderstand me. I still have my doubts. Oh. I shall be watching you. Make sure you don't know nothing that might disturb the crime scene. I wouldn't want you using your conjuring tricks to destroy evidence, for example. Right. Well, anyway, I should make a start on investigating here. Examine everything I can. Kazuma, I swear, I will avenge your death. In court, I'm not actually gonna kill the guy who killed you. I can't do that. Okay. I'm not talking to that asshole. What do you think this is? Looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have broken clean in two. The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Natsuke fastener from a kimono outfit. I'm not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket like this around with him, would he? And the mark beside it. What is it, I wonder? It has a sort of brick-like hue. So it was a brick. Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere else in the cabin. Maybe it's blood. Oh dear, that won't do. Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san? Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly. Ah, yes, that's not good. I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san? Yeah, I'm sure you're careful to look all around using the control stick, aren't you? Now, let's investigate all corners of this cabin. Yes, let's do that. I suppose my field of vision has been rather small until now. Oh, so now it's the D-pad. Did Kazuma write that before he died? It looks like it's written in ink. It's also written in Russian. He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it. I suppose he was trying to leave some kind of a clue in his final moments, was he? I'm sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. It's in Russian. I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san. What? Then what language is it? Russian. Pains me to admit, but I don't know. It's Russian. It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. It's Russian. What does it mean, I wonder? Okay, you know what? I admit Russian's harder to read, because, like, ever seen Russian cursive? Lord have mercy. This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat when he was writing. London Diary. Poor Kazuma. He didn't even make it to his destination. It looks as though his last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He was in the middle of writing it when the incident happened? Could have been that, like, he heard something, he was distracted by the writing, so he got up from his desk, went to examine whatever distracted him, and that's when he died. Let's see what it says. Could be a valuable clue. Hiya! Bruh. That's out of the question. What? Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts. But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. Poor Kazuma-sama. I don't like prying into people's personal matters either. But in this case, isn't the need for clues more important? What's in the box? What's in the box? That's a very large traveling case, isn't it? Yes, it carries a lot of memories for me. Memories? What do you mean? Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case. Ah, yes, I see it says this way up in Japanese. Which, in hindsight, I should have realized a foreign crewman wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over. Then I was tossed on the floor in there. Oh dear, being a stowaway isn't as romantic as it sounds. Romantic? Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Books. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they've all toppled the same way. And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well. Yes, it's almost as if the whole shelf has been ransacked and everything mowed down at once. I wonder if... perhaps it was Cosmo-sama doing his morning swords training, do you think? I seriously doubt it. Then perhaps... it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage? I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few bucks in a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess. Just gonna casually tamper with a crime scene. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Burya. Ah yes, the only two languages, English and Russian. Everything else is spoken by heathens! It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all passengers on board. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Sorry, ma'am, no pets allowed. Excuse you? That is my husband. What? Why are you staring at me? Oh, sorry. I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet? I can't decide. Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. Lawyers, the most dangerous object. This is, yes, it's a Belcord contraption, I think. I just got a quick break. I gotta buy some more papers to feed my pet lawyer. He sleeps in a briefcase, and he eats, documents. What do you mean, contraption? I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Be sure to, keep forks away from your pet lawyer, because he does like to use the fork, because lawyers do like to use the fork as, in a libel suit against Mr. Electric Socket. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants. Really? That sounds almost magical. It's a dumbwaiter, which is like a tiny elevator used for transport and stuff. It's called a dumbwaiter because it's like a waiter that doesn't make sound. Because dumb, it used to mean mute. That sounds almost magical. That's why a dumbbell is called a dumbbell. It's a bell that makes no sound. Shall we give it a little try? Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. Oh my god, that is so blimey core. Great Britain, such a lovely culture. I am such a what-a-boo Anglophile. These guys are Anglophiles. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people. Hey! No! Oh, no, I'm sure it's just that everyone is busy, that's all. Oh, great. Is everyone gonna be racist to the Japanese? They've suffered enough. I mean, yes, they also are going to do a lot of war crimes in, like, a few decades, but that's besides the point, guys. It's some 2 weeks since we set sail from Japan. Have we really been living in that wardrobe the entire time, Naruhodo-san? I think living isn't quite the right description. Oh no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout. The trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yes, I did basically have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception. But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin. So, no, sadly not. So, you now believe that I couldn't have done it? I gotta look at that vent. Look! Killer could have escaped there. I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. Oh, a hole through which fresh air can circulate into the cabin. Isn't that a little odd? What do you mean? Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin. So that's it then. The killer is in the next door cabin. Yes, it would appear to. You're right. But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside. That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough. Or something like that. Yes. There's a whole ventilation system up on the ceiling, and anybody could crawl through it. Anybody. Oh my god! Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. Ryunosuke, help me. I'm stuck in this desk, and Stepbro's gonna be home any minute. God, I'm such a freak. As far as I can tell, looks like he might be European. Ugh. Oh, how did he... is he the cool kind of European or a West European? How did he... Everyone has a lot of bad things to say about Eastern Europe, but I think they're cool. They got Poland, Russia, Ukraine. I think we can count Sweden as Eastern Europe. I have no idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall. Now, Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is? Well, no. I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. But he doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Cosmo's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell. Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him. Am I just imagining it? Or does Usato-san almost look uncontrollably excited? She's a fangirl. But by the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press A on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them. Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself. What the fuck are those two people talking about? Crosshairs? A button? Snake, you must, in order to sneak through the vents, you must press the B button. You must jump with A. You must press... Colonel, something's wrong. I can't seem to press A. Excuse me. Oh wait, it was PlayStation. Press the square button. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shush. This is a critical point in my investigation. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly. Yes, perhaps that would be for the best. Oh, I did the voices wrong again. Ah! Well, greetings. I hope I haven't kept you on. Ah! What exactly were you doing on Cosmo's desk just now? Are you peeing? Ah, I see. Fascinating. I just pissed my pants. Sorry? What do you see? I feel like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? And now, whilst venturing toward foreign climes, you find yourself a most troubling predicament. Oh, well, that's true at least. But how? How the deuce did I know that? No, how did you come to such a dumb conclusion? I've never been to Afghanistan. It was really a most elementary deduction, hardly worth explaining. Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else? But of course, a great many things. He's literally just Professor Layton, dude. There is no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being, as you are, a merciless revolutionary. Oh my god, he's gonna protect the Russian Revolution 10 years early! You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. Is that a thing? Is he talking about the Shard? Shard couldn't have been invented yet. And when the Beribum
of this very cabin discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarizes the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes.
Next Phoenix Wright game should have a... Ace Attorney game should have a fucking royalty-free version of Columbo. Lieutenant Columbo? Call them Lieutenant... Calamity. I don't fucking know. I'm not good with names. Just to be clear, you are talking about me, aren't you?
Certainly I am.
Damn.
Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name?
I don't even see one person who fits the bill. Listen, me no hablo Russian, so it's true. It was you who did this to Cosmo Susato, I love you, but what... You've got to think about this. And you're plotting a revolution, too. You're not one of those, communists that I've heard of. I hear there's this book club in Russia. It's shameful behavior, Naruhodo-san. Absolutely wicked. No, listen. There's no way. Hiya! Now explain yourself. Tell me everything. This is ridiculous. How could you do it? For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm not a Russian revolutionary. Obviously. Yeah. Oh, forgive me. And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head.
Ah, but I was not right, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not?
Well, yes, maybe.
Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that?
Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it deduction. It's more plain observation.
Indeed. And observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see. I announce my findings with a brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right.
I don't think you introduced yourself.
Ah, my apologies. How remiss of me. I am none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women the world over.
Wow. Kinda sucks that this century's almost over, huh?
The inimitable Sherlock Holmes.
So, it's really you? The actual Sherlock Holmes?
The very same. The imitable, actual Sherlock Holmes.
Do you know this man, Susato-san? The most famous detective in the world? Naruhodo-san, of course I do. There's nobody who hasn't heard of him. What planet have I been living on, then? We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure. Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? This is the best adaptation of Sherlock ever. Fuck Robert Downey Jr., fuck Benedict Cumberbatch, fuck Will Ferrell. Alright, gotta talk to him. So who's this? So, you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? Ryunosuke's just unimpressed.
Indeed, I am none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I see. You're German? Herlock, was it?
No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication. Written by one Sir Carther Donan Oyle.
Oh yes, Rance Magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. So wait, this timeline Sherlock was based off a real character? Sherlock Holmes.
Ah, they spelt my name wrong, those assholes.
Ah, yes, here it is. The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories, then?
Indeed I am.
I don't see why they couldn't just use the regular name Sherlock Holmes, cause, like, Who's gonna sue them? The Arthur Conan Doyle estate? Arthur Conan Doyle hated Sherlock. And you've read so many of your own stories, you've started to think you really are a detective.
Make no mistake, I'm not the poor little fellow you take me for.
He's the real Sherlock Sholmes, you fuck.
Your inference is backward.
Backward?
My trusty biographer records my greatest detective achievements and chronicles them in the magazine.
You have a biographer? You have a biographer, do you?
It doesn't everyone. Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London.
Dr. Wilson? Oh, I'm so sorry. He's dead.
I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late.
Pose.
Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved a mystery of a cursed royal crown.
Asia? Which country? Really? I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not.
Deduction, you see, is to me a science. Logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science? Really?
The astute observer notices even the most subtle of reactions in his subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of a muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeves, furrows in the skin. All these things are data.
Right.
And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth.
When you've eliminated the impossible, whatever remains, no matter how improbable, must be the truth.
As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago,
I'm not Russian. How can you look me in the eye and claim that?
So you see, I have a turn both for observation and for deduction, and fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Sholmes.
Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet?
Have I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow? Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. It was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Sherlock Sholmes.
Ah, I see. In other words, I'm in these now because of him. When I became anxious about Cosmo-sama this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin door open.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Sherlock Sholmes was on board. And the hango seemed to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo.
Listen to my name, Naruhodo. That is clearly not Russian, you dumb motherfucker.
The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me.
Oh really? 2 facts, you say? Yeah, fact 1, you're stupid. Fact 2, no bitches. Mr. Sholmes, tell us, please, what 2 facts were apparent to you when you came into this cabin this morning?
Ah, yes. But first, let me be precise. The 2 facts in question were immediately apparent to me.
Yes, I understand. But what were they?
Allow me to elucidate.
Don't say.
The 2 facts that I deduced from a mere momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows.
I cannot do that voice. I cannot do the Professor Layton voice. It's gotta be...
Number 1. The cabin was locked from within.
He could have vented.
Wow. Number 2. The victim was Russian and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance.
Hold on, Mr. Sholmes. What made you think the victim was Russian?
Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor.
These are not the...
That is the Russian word for Rodra.
Do you really think Cosmo-sama could have left a dying message in Russian? Cosmo is not Russian!
In the final moments, many find their native tongue fill in their head. But this young man, Russian.
Wait, was Cosmo a Russian spy?
Initially, I considered Gadyrov maybe the name of the killer, a certain Robert Guard, perhaps. But in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there at least.
Where were you when you found Naruhodo sleeping soundly? God fucking damn it.
Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer.
Why is it that I'm Russian too?
I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you are acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit is the traditional dress of the Russian people.
No, it's not. Are school uniforms of the traditional dress of the Russian people? I had no idea. I had no idea a detective would get something so wrong.
Have you been drinking stupid juice? I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details.
He did. Let me guess, he didn't actually write that fucking message. This. Why am I so yongy? This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this. Come. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, thank you. The photograph of the crime scene has been entered into the court records. So that's evidence, but nothing else is. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes?
What, pray tell?
You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that.
Ah, yes. The train of reasoning that led me to the truth.
Would you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think?
Certainly, if it interests you.
How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean.
Ah, the now famously accurate trouble and predicament you find yourself in.
Actually, it was the other details that I was more hoping you to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part.
Ah, yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The main headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik.
What? Seriously? Bolshevik? So even in this era, they got fucking pun names. He's literally his Bolshevik party.
Flees Russia via Shanghai.
It's a communist.
This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered.
Since when was Kazuma Russian? It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor.
It was a simple act of reasoning to just season's reasons to realize that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who had killed the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, villain Bolshevik.
Oh, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Just look at his face.
Well, you are a fearsome revolutionary after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learnt to revolutionize your appearance as well.
Please. And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passengers.
And I might add, your name does not appear on the ship's passengers list. Need I say more?
Well, that's because I'm a stowaway. What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower?
Ah, yes. The journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. These the man has perpetrated thus far, and those he has plotted. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
This is the guy who killed Leon Trotsky. Do revolutionaries usually agree to interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder? Actually, there was this one time Joseph Stalin got interviewed by an American journalist. Really awesome. And what about the part where you said I was just returning from Afghanistan?
Also quite clearly stated here in this article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan.
Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place.
Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction.
Oh, thank you.
I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages, but I see no rubbish bin necessary.
The article about the revolutionary has been put to the core record.
And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well.
On the back?
Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret.
It's all written in Russian. I couldn't help to read it. If you know that he will need someone to interpret the Russian, then why the fuck do you think he's Russian? The fucking nerve you have calling yourself a detective. But I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Before we started talking, you were examining Cosmo's desk, weren't you?
Cosmo? Ah, yes, the victim.
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim was engaged in penning some text.
London Diary. Cosmo's keeping notes of the trip. But I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. One person.
Tragic! And something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading.
You mean you've read it already?
It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese.
Oh, I see. Well, you're about to know what a Suzato takedown is. Nah. Fucking white supremacy. Suzato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns? I'm sorry, Naruhodo-san. What on earth do you mean? Life is so unfair. Is everyone in this game a Westerbo?
Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely this diary belonging to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? Pray be precise as to details.
Oh, but I thought you knew Japanese.
A smatter, dear boy, a smatter. Sayonara Bonsai Mikado. Nado nado. I trust you're suitably impressed.
Finally! A normal, run-of-the-mill weeaboo. Oh, you can't say weeaboo. That's not like a word you're supposed to be proud of. We're using it to insult you for appropriating Japanese culture. No, weeaboo is not a corruption of Wapanese. Weeaboo came from a fucking webcomic as a nonsense word. And, I think you'll forgive anime freaks for calling themselves weeaboos, because that's what you call them. You call them that. Like, remember? It's like, I like anime. Weeaboo. It doesn't matter if you just watch a single anime, or if you, like, study the culture, or whatever. If you have any interest in Japanese culture, you're called a weeaboo, so just fuck it, own the title. I'm a weeaboo. And now they're saying that you should be ashamed of calling yourself a weeaboo? Fuck that. Ugh, you made your whole personality. I don't give a shit. If you don't like my anime personality, you can fuck off. I don't even watch anime, but like, at least not like as on daily. I don't watch it daily. But this diary is littered with complicated looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. And then they have the nerve to say, ugh, I don't care if you were bullied for liking anime, and also you probably deserved it. This is from a TikTok from, like, another Asian American person saying, like, they saw these people, weeaboo was used to describe people who fetishize Japanese people, which, yes, that is a bad thing. But then they identified with it. They identify with it not because they're against you or anything. They identify with it because They were called that before like an anime. If you don't want people who fetishize Japanese culture to be proud of being called weeaboos, maybe don't throw that word around. Don't want people to be proud of being called weeaboos, don't throw that word around for anyone with a passing interest in anime. If you would be so kind as to show me, I would be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes. Cringe culture is dead, people. If somebody likes anime, that is great. I'm much obliged, my dear madame. The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just 2 short sentences. The first reads, 1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? These are very deep waters. Pray, go on. The second sentence reads, 1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? Snake. The snake vented. I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
The ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there on the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin.
Yes, the adjoining cabin. I'm gonna fucking...
So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
You've given me jack shit. Do you have somewhere to go?
As it happens, I'm off to play with jingling keys and wonder how I got this job. The victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I am still too long, the seasickness takes hold.
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to?
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds rebel at stagnation. We crave mental exaltation. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence the truth will become clear soon enough.
Do you think perhaps that we could go with you?
No, that would be somewhat complicated.
What? But why?
A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer.
Oh, these.
After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter. No?
There's no point trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place.
Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point.
You must be... You just said it! Only a moment ago!
Dear me, you are clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that, too. You called me a Russian communist, and you said that I killed him...
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. Not really.
So what, were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are.
Well, anyway, that was then and this is now.
Are you gaslighting me, you fuck?
What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate.
Now he's just being plain rude.
Well, I'm off to eat paint chips.
And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. His sense of humor is as twisted as his name. Oh, he peed his pants again. Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? You must go investigate the cabin next door as well. Aren't you forgetting something? What about these? There's no way I can... Hey-ya! I would become the Joker after this. After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate? So if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part, I am going to become the Joker. I think we still have some investigation to finish off in here, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for a chance to slip next door. Good idea. The situation doesn't look good for me, but there are still things I can do to help myself. And I owe it to Cosma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, and bring the real culprit to justice. Knife. That's my dinner from last night. A roast chicken. It was really tasty. Chicken. With potatoes. Mashed potatoes. Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here? I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate it at the table, of course. Which begs the question of, when and how did the plate end up on the floor? But Cosmo-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he? No, that's right. So he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me. Oh no! Does that mean poor Cosmo-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? At least he didn't shit his pants. It's just too horrible. Ugh, now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. I'm hungry. I wish I could eat a fucking chicken. Roast chicken. There's nothing on this table at all. The plate and cutlery are all over the floor for some reason. Yes, it's strange. Last night when I went to sleep, I'm sure everything was still. No, wait a minute. What is it? That's funny. I can't seem to remember anything about what happened after dinner at all. So then perhaps you are responsible for what happened to Cosmo-sama. How would that Is everyone in this game just stupid? No. Like, do they all have brain damage? You know, that would actually make sense. Everyone in this franchise has brain damage. That's Cosmo's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it. Yes, he was always saying that a Japanese man katana is in his soul. I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip. I suppose that just shows how important it was to him. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Take the sword. Use it to behead the man who killed me. Inosuke. Seigi. The Japanese word for justice. The brushstrokes are straight and true, just like Kazuma. Yes, his calligraphy always was a reflection of his heart. Yet, can you really look at those characters without feeling shame at no one who drew them so thoughtfully? Of course I can. I mean, I'm innocent, so why shouldn't I be able to? Even though you stowed away on the ship. Now you're going to bring that up, are you? I can't win. Don't come crying to me when you get framed for murder, Chisato. It always happens to the assistants. They always get framed for murder. So, just know, I'll remember this when you ask me to defend you. Ink. Okay, examined everything here. Talk to this fucker. Excuse me. What? I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Would you mind if I investigated a little outside? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes, but it is not true. I see. God, The criminal asking prison guard to help him escape? Very funny. The Japanese Empire will remember this. Sorry, that was... We're in the middle of the sea. There's no chance of me escaping. And yeah. You stay in this cabin until next what? Then it is up to Hong Kong police to decide what they do with it. And now I wish I was a Russian revolutionary. Shoot this guy in the head in the name of Vladimir Ilyich Lenin! Hang the parasites! All power to the working class! There's no point trying to appeal to this man's better nature, that's for sure. He has no better nature. He's bourgeoisie scum. When I went for help and the crewmen forced the door open, this bolt had been firmly closed. It's quite a small bolt, not particularly sturdy, and it just slides across to secure the door shut. But still, with a door bolted, there would be no way to get in or out of the cabin, that's for sure. It's no wonder everyone suspects me. When she glares at me like that, I feel tense all up and down my spine. I remember reading once in a detective novel, the culprit used a needle and thread to draw a bolt across from the room in a situation like this. Yes, that's a clever trick, isn't it? Why would I need a bolt? I'm an avid reader of detective stories myself. But the door of this cabin and its frame are made of metal, and they seal together perfectly. Oh, there would be no possibility of using that needle and thread trick. Oh, it's like when you use a credit card to open a lock? Okay. When she glares at me like that, I feel pins and needles all up and down my spine. Oh, look over there. The crewman, do you mean? He wasn't there before, was he? That's what I thought. Why don't we try talking to him? Probably because I'm likely to get yelled at again. But I suppose I could try. Is something wrong, Naruhodo-san? Oh, no, it's just that crewman standing by the door. I can't help feeling like I've seen him somewhere before. Oh, yes, you're right. He does look familiar. It's the detective. Excuse me, sir? Yes, what can I do for you? It's Hosonaga. I recognize that face, but it can't be. It is! I didn't know you were here, Inspector Hosonaga. Hello again. What are you doing here? I think that should be my line. I was so stunned when I saw you, my heart stopped. Are you hitting on me? I nearly stopped. Nearly stopped, I hope. I received some special orders to go undercover as a member of the crew and board this ship. Again? You certainly seem to enjoy undercover work, Inspector. If there's anything I can do to help you, please ask. I never expected to see this man on board, but perhaps his presence can help me out of this hopeless situation. Converse. So what are your special orders this time, Inspector? Yes, and why are you dressed as a member of the crew? I'm so sorry. This is all my fault. I take full responsibility. For what? My orders were to act as Asogi-san's bodyguard. It was Minister of Justice Jigoku who pushed for this overseas study tour to go ahead. Goku? And he entrusted me with ensuring that Asogi-san reached Great Britain without being assassinated. Assassinated? How could that have even been a possibility? I'm not sure. But these are complicated times. There are tensions between the world's greatest powers. Minister Jigoku said we should be prepared for all eventualities. This is incredible. I don't believe it. Cosmo-san was assassinated? Obviously, we couldn't give Asogi-san a visible security escort. Which is why I'm undercover now, posing as one of the crew. I see. And I didn't take my eyes off him the entire time we've been on board, from morning until night, every day. But I never imagined it would happen here, instead of inside his own cabin. Not here on the first class deck. I failed miserably at my assignment, and Asogi-san is dead as a result. I'm a disgrace. All I can do is humbly apologize. Inspector. So if there's anything at all that I can do to help now, just say the word. Yeah, can you help me clear my name dumbass cracker of a detective thinks I did it because he thinks I'm a Bolshevik revolutionary. I'd love to be, but unfortunately I am not. We're doing what we can to investigate Cosmo's death ourselves. I thought you might be. You didn't do it, did you? You're not the killer? Of course not! Please, I just need someone on my side, too. We'd really like to investigate the cabin next door. Yes, so we need to be allowed out of this cabin. I'm sorry. What? You've been deemed a risk to the ship's safety. If you move to even touch the handle of the cabin door, that strong-looking seaman there would surely snap your neck in two. Not if I snap his neck first! I suppose I'm just not a stowaway now. They think I'm a murderer as well. Would it be possible to give me something to work with, do you think? I'm going to need something persuasive. What do you mean? If I had a solid reason why the next door cabin should be investigated, for example, I'd do everything I could to persuade the captain to allow it. Really, I'd lay my life on the line if I had to. But I don't see how... The vent. There may be a way. What? Really? Think of how you tried to persuade me of your innocence, Naruhodo-san, by presenting me with a piece of evidence that you already had in your possession. I don't have any of that shit with the... evidence? It's just the same as when you were in court. You must have done it many times during your trial. Simply select the present panel and choose some evidence that Inspector Hosonaga could use. So, evidence that would give us a viable reason to investigate the next door cabin, is it? Alright, yes. I think I know what we might use. See if I can present the evidence with the evidence he needs to persuade the captain. Okay. I'm gonna have to fucking... Oh. What? I wanna... Okay, that's how you move. So I can't, what, take a picture of the them? So... I hope I find some ladders. University. Nice. My personal student number is engraved on the back here. If you lose your pen, they won't accept you as a Yume student at the university. You may not come in, they say. Why is it written in... Does Japan use Hindu Arabic numerals? Of course, you can get a new pen made if you can just tell them your number. I've actually lost mine twice already, but I still don't know my student number by heart. I always say to myself, I mustn't forget to write it down somewhere. But then I forgot to write it down. Always keep a pen and paper on you so you can take down ideas. No one wants to forget the ideas. Well, cover all your bases. Inspector, can I show you this? What the? Is that a fabled Imperial Yume University pen badge? I'm not sure if it's really fabled exactly, but... So, you're a genuine student then. Sorry? Nothing like me with my regular schooling. Here's something much greater. Is that what you were trying to say? Can I have my badge back, please? Ah, this is the paper seal that was stuck over the wardrobe doors this morning, isn't it? That's right. Trying to stop the cabin steward opening it up and discovering me. Wouldn't it have been better to write it in English if you didn't know Russian? Maybe, but a food of paper amulets like this are part of our culture, Inspector.
And I thought if I made it look creepy enough, people would be too scared to want to look inside. It isn't easy being a stowaway, is it? Have you seen this photograph yet, Inspector? Oh no, your photograph was cringe, and it made him Oh dear, are you alright, Inspector? Yes, sorry. I'm fine. I was hoping to hide my upset with a fit of coughing and sputtering. I'm usually very good at it, but trying to stifle my feelings seems to have stifled my cough this time. I'm gonna stop recording. It's also sad. Kosogi-san was such a promising young man. The Empire had such high hopes for him. I had such high hopes for him, even though I'm just a detective. Japan is one of the few remaining places where the head of state is called an emperor. Emperor of Japan. Of course, he doesn't actually have much administrative power. It's more of a ceremonial monarchy after the events of World War II. There was a massive restructuring in the government. But they still let the emperor wear nice clothes. Even though I'm just a detective. And listen, like, I'm critical of the Japanese government like I'm critical of all governments. But, like, their culture is very important. And, like, and I'm just really interested by, like, some of their ceremonies and traditions. Like, the 3 sacred treasures, those exist. They actually exist. But only the emperors can see them. Let's present... Oh, I didn't actually read it. Oh, look! I couldn't find anything out of place. Oh, what? I'm digging myself into a hole. I'm afraid I can't read a word of Russian. I just talk about a country. Like, I'm not saying, oh, this is the ultimate best country ever. I'm not saying it's the worst country ever. It's a country. It's nice. I lived in Japan for a while. In my formative years. I have no idea what any of this says. The pair of you floundering is a sorry sight. Allow me to offer some assistance. The article on the front page of this newspaper is concerned with the fearsome Russian revolutionary. It reads, Revolutionary Wieland Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. I wonder if that name is based off of an actual revolutionary. I know Bolshevik, that's a play on the word Bolshevik. Yes, you told us that before. And probably borscht. But borscht is in Russian is Ukrainian. It reveals also that those eyes who see the man's beard with their own eyes never live to tell the tale. Before the Russian Revolution, the former Soviet countries of Belarus, Ukraine, Moldova, and all that other stuff, they were all just territories of Russia. They weren't sovereign countries. Oh my goodness, he is fearsome. Well, presumably the newspaper photograph was alright, wasn't he? That's why Ukraine is called Ukraine. It translates to, the border. So it's called the Ukraine. It's the border of Russia. But then they, gained sovereignty. So the solution is obvious, of course. If he despises his beard to that degree, he only needs to shave it off. You ever try shaving? I'm not quite sure that's the problem, Mr. Sholmes. Look, like, they dead-ass put communism in an Ace Attorney game. Oh, hey, look! This is interesting. Have you found something relevant, Naruhodo-san? Well, no, I mean, it looks it might be interesting. Perhaps about a beautiful young Russian princess, do you think? Oh, boy. Oh, Lord. Oh, God. She's gonna die in, like, 20 years. Bang. She is very pretty, isn't she? I suppose you enjoy articles like this, do you?
I once saw the movie Anastasia, the Don Bluth movie, and I had no idea that it was. I didn't know anything about it. Now I realize, oh, I see. It's communist Russia.
Ah, I'm glad you've noticed this article. Ah! Allow me to give you a short summary of its contents.
Oh, thank you. He pops up everywhere, this Mr. Sholmes.
It's about the disappearance of a young lady last night. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai.
Oh, thank God it's not Anastasia.
During a performance in Shanghai, the famous dancer was reported missing. She is, of course, the talented young Nikolina Pavlova.
Why are Russian names so hard to remember? Not all of them are hard to remember.
Gennady Tartovsky.
Mikhail Gorbachev. Vladimir Putin. Boris something something.
It would appear the woman was in costume when she was found to be missing from her dressing room.
Kasparov.
Wearing the diamond tiara you see pictured, which is worth some 20,000 rubles.
Oh, how much is 20,000 rubles? I have no idea, but I'm quite sure it must be an unbelievable sum of money. Imagine all the Pokemon cards you could buy with that. Susato-san's eyes are shining like diamonds themselves. Learning about history is so fun. Like, all the, like... You know... Imagine how I felt when I found out, oh my god, samurais and cowboys existed at the same time!
The tiara is the property of the Novovich Ballet. It would seem the director is beside herself with worry.
Yes, I'm not surprised.
The company is most anxious to recover both Miss Pavlova and the valuable tiara. They requested international assistance at all ports with sailings to Great Britain.
I bet it was those darn communists who took the crown. Could this be another case of a Russian fleeing his or her country? It does seem to be the Russian thing to do. They're Russian. I'm not even going to dignify that with a response, Mr. Naruhodo. I think at this point in time, did Russia still own Alaska at this point? The Russians, being great explorers, they claimed Alaska as part of their territory. And they didn't call it Alaska, they called it Russian America. And then there was the Alaskan Purchase. They sold it to America, and then it became a state. And it was a point of strategic importance during the Cold War, obviously, being right between the United States and the Soviet Union. And also there was just like a bunch of oil, so much oil underneath Alaska. Can I show you this newspaper, Inspector? I'm sorry, but I can't read Russian very well. Oh no, that's alright. I know what it says. Oh, right, because you inspected it. Wait a minute! Sholmes has been in the room with us the entire time. I thought he left to go jerk off into an electric socket. What is with me today? So you just wanted to point out your university-level linguistic talents, is that it? Sorry. Stop it with the self-pity, dude. Listen, I tried it. I tried self-loathe and self-pity. It was not fun. Self-deprecation, on the other hand, that's funny. I can you think look speckled band. What's that? I love making pigs in a blanket. They're so easy to make. Got sausages, biscuit dough. Just before he died, Kazuma-sama wrote something rather strange in his diary. No, croissant dough. They call it crescent dough for some reason, but it's called croissant dough. Just call it croissant dough. It's not like it's a brand name. Strange in what way? Like, yeah, it wouldn't be like authentic croissant, but like biscuits from a can aren't authentic biscuits, now are they? He wrote what looks like some kind of speckled van is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? That is strange. Yes, we're still trying to work out what he meant by that. Well, what I'd like to know is... Don't tell me. The ventilator, is it? You're very astute, Inspector. Vented. He vented. That ventilator clearly joins to the next door cabin. That's right. So if we could investigate in there, we might be able to work out what the speckled band was. What are some other cool facts about Russia? I can't leave this cabin at the moment. I'm stuck here until we arrive at the next port. The captain has given me strict orders to guard the scene of the crime scene. I'll have to entrust the investigation to you. Really? You're willing to do that? Yes. As long as you don't leave the first-class cabin area. I'm afraid I can't remove those handcuffs, though. But what about the captain? Aren't you going against his direct orders? I am the captain. I'm a man of my word. And I promise you that I'll lay my life on the line if that's what it takes to convince the captain. Wow. Let's seize the moment then, Naruhodo-san. Just select moves and we can leave this cabin at last. Move? Alright then, let's see what... Don't forget to save by pressing the start button. That's a straight up mousetrap with some cheese. Look, Suzato-san! Cheese! Ah! I'm definitely the kind of guy who would fall for a mousetrap. Not even a human mousetrap, like a mousetrap built for humans. Just like a regular mousetrap with a little bit of cheese. Oh my god, cheese. Or like a delicious snack hide underneath a box, suspended by a stick attached to a piece of string. Ooh. It's less spacious out here than I thought it would be. And this is the most luxurious accommodation. Yes, indeed. Kazuma-san was being sent on this study tour by the government. That's why he was being put up in a first-class cabin. Even still, this is about twice as large as my accommodation in steerage. Steerage, is that like second class? The classes, they're, luxury class, business class, economy class. Anything below economy, you're just peasant. Oh, look over there. That's another crewman keeping watch, and he looks enormous, even if he is sitting down. The door next to him leads to the second-class accommodation. I suppose he's making sure that no one comes in here who shouldn't. I suppose. Like people in handcuffs. Sure, just... Naruhodo-san, looked like a little boy visiting a toy shop for the first time. Could have just bought him a third-class ticket. Like, yeah, it would have been a dick move as your best friend. Like, hey, you're not good enough to ride with me in first class. Go with the peasant. But, like, at least then would have been less likely to be framed for murder. I would have thought you'd be used to the ship by now. We've been in that sea for 2 weeks already. Hope there's a spirit channel in this game so I can give Cosma a piece of my mind. I was inside Cosma's trunk when I first came aboard. And ever since then, I've been shut up inside that little wardrobe. It must have been a very trying time for you. Please, don't give me that pitying look. I don't need your pity. Huge book on top of the table there, and there's a pen next to it. Yes, that looks like the ship's log. Shall we have a little look through it? Dear Diary. The writing is so neat and precise. Every detail about the voyage has been meticulously recorded. You wouldn't expect a rough and ready sailor to have such beautiful handwriting. And nothing. No reaction at all. I thought I might appreciate the compliment. That was more like a neg. You know, like, oh, you're pretty good at writing for a big dumb idiot, big dumb Ruski. I don't want to, like, say any actual derogatory terms for Russians. I think Ruski is already pushing. I'm not sure that rough and ready is much of a compliment, Naruhodo-san, even to a sailor. Yeah, that's what I'm saying! You're doing negging! what you're doing is called negging, and it's done by incels. Anyway, last night's log is mostly blank. Presumably that means there was nothing to report. This looks like a plan of the SS Buria. It shows each deck, look! A double-decker. The Buria is a large-scale steamship with a triple-skinned hull. What a marvel of engineering. Yeah, 3 holes. That is all you need. Don't do more holes. No, you know what happened to the Titanic. Don't want that. Well, it's been playing on my mind for a while now, actually, but how is it that such a huge lump of metal doesn't just sink to the bottom of the ocean? Oh, that's really quite simple, Naruhodo-san. It is? Well, consider the Japanese archipelago. The islands of Japan? Yes, they're not metal, but they are enormous lumps of earth, many, many times larger than this. Well, an island doesn't float on the ocean. It's basically like a mountain. Islands are mountains that are submerged in the ocean. And they don't sink, do they? They've been floating happily on the sea since the gods created them. Ah, of course, they wouldn't know that at the time. I don't think even fucking Americans or Englishmen would have known that. Oh. Ah, a trap for catching mice. Yes, we have plenty of those back home in Japan. Although they seem to be using a lump of chalk or something as bait. Let me see. Yes, I think that's what is called cheese. It's made from the milk of cows. Cheese? I wonder what that tastes like. What do they use for mouse traps in Japan? Rice cakes? You can't eat it, Naruhodo-san. The trap will snap shut on your fingers. Really? But... I suppose you're right. But I'm not a mouse! You weren't actually going to try it, were you? All I've had to eat for the past couple of weeks is Cosmo's leftovers. You don't know how hungry I've been in that wardrobe. Poor you. I'll find a little snack for you later. That's adorable. I'm so hungry. Starving white woman. What do you think this is? It's a very pleasant shape, isn't it? That's the emergency alarm. It's probably best not to touch it. Oh, an alarm. It says, press only in times of emergency. It looks as though it sets alarm bells ringing all over the ship, and brings the vessel to a complete stop. Oh, this I have to... What are you doing, Naruhodo-san? You mustn't touch it! But this is an emergency situation. Just look at these handcuffs. You know full well that's not what they're on for. If you were to bring this vessel to a standstill for no good reason, you'd be in an even worse situation. Worse than being framed for murder? Yes, well... You are charged with pressing the emergency button, which annoyed everyone on the ship. And since you're on trial for that, we're going to drop these lesser charges of stowaway and murder. I wish everyone would just stop, this ship included. Of course, if that happened, I would plead guilty. If you have to do something foolish, at least make it something that doesn't affect anyone else. One of my favorite jokes I've read in Reader's Digest of all things, like you've been charged with murder and running a red light. We're going to drop charges for the first crime, so how do you plead to the second crime? Defense size of relief? Guilty. Well, let's go in here. This is it. This was a cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cosmo-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's ask! Oh, God! Eyes are up here, pervert. Oh, excuse me, we, need to get inside this cabin here. The sailor's eyes speak volumes. They're clearly saying, keep out. That's what I wrote on the sign we put over the wardrobe doors. Although this man's version is definitely more effective. It doesn't look like he's going to let us pass. That's a problem. Lord. Okay. Well, excuse me, but could I ask you something?
You little stowaway murderer. You little stowaway murderer. You little stowaway murderer. I am everywhere.
I can't do Russian accent.
Riff raff. What you looking at?
Can't do Russian accent. But that's okay, because neither can HBO Go! Hey-oh! That wasn't a good start, was it? Alright, let me try instead. Good day, Mr. Sailor. I'm so sorry to trouble you, but could I perhaps ask something of you?
You little third-class lady's maid.
Oh no, he also misogynist. Oh. We seem to have caught the sailor on a bad day, Susato-san.
I am not sailor. My mother gave me name.
Sorry, what is your name?
I am senior crewman, Biff Stroganoff.
Whew. The best thing is just to avoid eye contact, I think. And this guy is Russian, so surely that would mean that his name is the same in the Japanese version, right? Mr. Stroganoff, about this first-class cabin area.
Biff. Hello, anyone home, McFly? Make like tree and get out of here.
About this first-class cabin area.
Here we are, in finest part of Booyah Steamship, for very important persons.
What sort of very important persons?
Government officials, kings and queens traveling in secret, many important persons. That is why I am always guarding this place.
Gosh, that's amazing.
But somehow I let stupid stowaway inside. I want to pick you up and throw you in ocean, but Stroganoff is not animal.
Thank you. If I may, I was wondering, is the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's currently occupied?
Da!
Okay, I can see that. Susato-san, did you understand that? It sounded like da. I think it's probably Russian for yes. Or no. Genius. Ya.
It is not permitted to visit other cabins without invitation.
Well, it sounds like there was somebody in the next door cabin at least. Yes, it's tantalizing. Are you on watch here all the time, Seaman Stroganoff? Seaman.
Da, all time, so criminals like you cannot come in or get out.
I wonder, could you tell us anything about last night at all?
It is sad about Student Boy.
Were you on watch last night as well?
Of course.
And did you notice anything at the time? Anything unusual?
Yeah, nyet.
Sorry, almost said het. Susato-san, did you understand that? It was clearly a no.
Yep. I saw nothing unusual. Nothing at all.
And you didn't hear any strange noises or sense anything was wrong in some way?
I said no.
Sorry! I'm not so sure. I could have sworn that he wouldn't catch my eye for a moment there. Could you tell us who's traveling in the cabin next to Mr. Asogi's?
His name is Mr. Grimesby Roylott. He is very important Western gentleman.
A Western gentleman?
Do not think about it. He has nothing to do with murder of Student Boy.
He's the murderer. How can you be so sure about that?
Mr. Roylott is authentic Western gentleman. Such a man would have no interest in lowly student from insignificant Far East Islands.
That was harsh. Could you tell us when Mr. Roylott came aboard? Don't please. Okay, you know what? Herlock's a dumbass, but at least he wasn't racist. God, that's such a low bar.
That is not your business.
Come to think of it, even though we've been at sea for 2 weeks now, and I've been in Cosmo's cabin the entire time, I've never once heard anything from the next door cabin, or even felt like there's anyone there. And yes, it's the fucking early early 20th century. Of course everyone here is going to be racist. Well, presumably, since this gentleman is occupying one of the first class... At least it's not like Baldur's Gate racism, where, like, they call you a fucking, lowly Japanese. At least you don't have to see Suzato snapping back with, yeah, well, you fucking vodka drink... You know, where, like, it's mutually assured racism. Those fucking bleaglers. Yeah, well, you blagglers are terrible. It's like, who's the victim here? You're both being racist. He must be rather important, is that right? That is not your business. Racism is bad. That is enough. I cannot say more now. Oh. Don't get to second class area. It's staying locked at all times. You escape when the lobster whistles on top of the mountain. Or, as English say, when the pigs fly. Is when the lobster whistles on top... Is that an actual Russian saying? Yes, I understand. Good. Now we can investigate this area properly, shall we? Definitely. Ah. This is it. This is a cabin next to ours, the one the ventilator connects to. Yes, the ventilator from which Cosmo-sama wrote that he saw a speckled band emerging. Maybe whoever's in this cabin can help solve that particular mystery. Let's fast. He is the guy who did it. He is the killer. Ah! What was that? Kim, such a high-pitched scream. Must have been a woman. Stand aside. Oh, hey, Herlock. I'm about to break the door down. Mr. Sholmes! I shan't be stopped. When the fit is on me, I revel in kicking doors up their hinges. No way! I also love kicking doors off their hinges. And then they became best friends. Wait, Mr. Sholmes! What would the ship name be for Naruhodo, Ryunosuke, and Sholmes? Ryunolak? Naru Sholmes? Sholmes Odo? I don't know. The door doesn't appear to be bolted. It doesn't? Then how the deuce can I dispatch this muscular urge? What, pray, can I kick? The masculine urge to kick down doors. I think we should go in. There's no name with stress leaf. Wasted all that masculinity on nothing. Not nothing! I made my butthole go boop! Fucking... the gay show. The... hey, we talk to gay... We like gay people, we promise. I actually don't know how that show did. I think it was called G-Force. Not to be confused with the one where, like, where hamsters... The one with hamsters. It was Q-Force. That's what it was. Q-Force. Ooh, who are you? A Western gentleman? This man looks Russian to me. We heard a woman scream? A woman? Don't be upset. As you can see, there's nobody but me in this cabin. True, this old man does appear to be the only person in here. But in that case, who just screamed? Get out, all of you. No. And, why do you look like you have some really great foundation? What lotion do you use for your skin?
Please excuse the intrusion, but you're Mr. Grimsby Roylott, I believe.
Yes, that's me. And you are?
I'm the one and only, the actual Herlock Sholmes. You've heard of me, no doubt.
No.
I'm a great detective among great detectives. one who adorns the covers of popular magazines, no less. So I assure you, you may trust me completely.
The man uses that magazine like a business card. Or an attorney's badge.
Oh, detective. I do not trust detectives. We distinctly heard a scream emanating from within these walls. But there will appear to be a lady concealing herself within the wardrobe this time.
You call me a lady?
So might I be so bold as to ask you to open that small traveling case?
Whoa, don't be stupid. How could anyone fit in a small trunk like that?
Well, it's quite fashionable these days, is it not? Traveling inside one's trunk.
Don't look at me. Oh! Oh my! Did you see that, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, the case just shook. Is there a child in that box? Is your child in that case?
No. Well, yes, there is a child, but it's not mine.
So this is Kazuma's neighbor, Mr. Grimesby Roylott. There's no doubt about it. This strange Russian man is hiding something. Or someone. I couldn't agree more. Let's see if we can find some clues before that burly sailor returns. Why aren't you using your fucking karate? What the fuck are you doing, man? I love this guy. He's stupid, but I love him. Do you have a moment, please, Mr. Sholmes?
You need only address me as Sholmes.
That's what I just did, isn't it? Well, Mr. Sholmes, what were you doing in there?
My name is Sholmes, but you can call me later tonight.
Why, I was resting, of course. Resting?
Indeed. I was contemplating our sea voyage from the confines of the wardrobe whilst waiting.
Waiting for the inevitable time
that you would need to call my great powers of detection into service.
Oh.
And it would seem that the hour is upon us now. The time has come. Am I mistaken?
Well, no, actually. You're spot on, for once. Okay, now we get to see him actually to do something.
Observe closely. Our Russian host in this cabin, Mr. Roylott, is clearly trying to hide something. And do you know what is the most effective weapon to use against a Russian hiding a secret?
MK Ultra! No. A nuclear bomb! No. Why,
the truth, of course. Though it should be pointed out that such methods are not exclusively for the Russians.
Right.
Can you imagine how the Russian will react when the security guard so closely is exposed? Would you like to witness it?
Oh yes, please!
Well then, what you are about to see may well astound you. For I'm about to apply my great detective's greatly admired great deduction to the case. Could this man be a more hackneyed portrayal of a dubious Russian, I ask you?
What?
From time to time, it occurs to me. Is the fellow dubious on account of his Russianness, or Russian on account of his dubiousness? I
really don't think either of those things should be occurring to you. Or anyone. That's right. And Mr. Sholmes, I know this man's beard and dark glasses are hard to ignore, especially on first meeting, but I once read, it is a capital mistake to theorize before you have all the evidence. It biases the judgment. Yeah, that's good. Don't find evidence to support your conclusions. Look at all the facts, and then make your conclusion.
I must have complete silence.
That is how you reason. That is how you logic. What are you doing? Why are you peering at my face like that?
Ah, just as I thought. Yes, I have quite made up my mind now.
Oh?
There can be no other explanation that accommodates all the facts. Mr. Roylott, I have reached two incontrovertible conclusions.
What do you mean?
Number one, your true identity is that of a villain. Using those shears, you're about to end the existence of something most dear. Are you not? Huh. And number 2, the other conclusion I have drawn. You are, at this very moment no less, in the midst of committing a most grievous crime. Beneath that beard, your mouth quivers with nervous tension as you realize you have been discovered. Does it not?
Ah! Oh, Naruhodo-san, I never imagined I would witness one of Mr. Sholm's great deductions with my own eyes. That is not a deduction, that's an assumption! That was a great deduction. Nothing can deceive Mr. Sholmes. In a single glance, he can deduce all there is to know about a person. What? What an ineffable twaddle. Oh yes, I read all about it countless times in The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes. And now I've experienced the astonishing impact of this great deduction firsthand. This is like a dream come true. I can hardly believe it, but all the color is drained from Mr. Roylott's face. Well, most people would have that reaction, being accused of murder. Looks like somehow both of Mr. Sholmes' conclusions were right. How?
How could you? How could I possibly know such things, you wish to say? Very well then. I shall elucidate. I shall explain how it was that I arrived at this pair of conclusions. So do I cordially invite you upon a journey of logical discovery. Let us board the train of reasoning. Put plainly, let us work through my deductions together.
All right, it's like in the Sherlock movies or the Sherlock TV shows when he sees equations like old man's identity.
So, the dubious second Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously what catches the eye in the first place
Shears.
is the enormous pairs of shears in your hand. Now we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
That's not a crime.
Now, moving on. The question then begged is this. Why would you desire to rid yourself of this magnificent beard, Mr. Roylott? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter.
Huh?
Regard, if you will, this morning's newspaper. In particular, the fascinating front page article. Which, it would appear, you have read also, Mr. Roylott. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary.
Looks nothing alike. Very different facial.
In translation, the headline reads, Revolutionary Villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. As you cannot fail to observe, the subject of the article possesses an extremely copious beard. Having noted the article yourself, you decided to remove your incriminating facial hair before it gave you away. In short, your true identity is beyond doubt. You are the fearsome Russian revolutionary himself, Villain Bolshevik.
Oh, I get it. Villain Bolshevik.
Not that I've heard of you myself, you understand.
A revolutionary on the run. Ron doing.
Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime.
Oh.
And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Mr. Roylott. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. Oh, and I assure you, the eye speaks so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth.
Didn't you accuse me of being the villain Bolshevik? I don't trust this. How many people has he accused of being villain Bolshevik?
The answer lies where we seek, lies where the furtive glance falls.
Fuck me.
The proof of
the furtive pygmy so easily forgotten.
Your traveling case. It is time, I think, that the case be opened and its contents laid bare. No, I refuse. What could you possibly be concealing inside, we ask? By my estimation, a young lady, perhaps, one slight enough to fit therein. Don't be absurd. And what, pray, would be the identity of the young lady in the traveling case? Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup de boil betrays you. Coup d'oeil. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Oh, yes, the reason you refuse to open your traveling case can equally be found in the pages of this newspaper. For there's another most stimulating article. If we turn from the fleeing revolutionary to the back page. Oh, renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. Such a headline can lead us to but one conclusion. Your crime is that of abduction. And according to the article, the young lady's name is Nikolina Pavlova.
Kidnapping of a young ballerina.
Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great detection of this Russian enigma, Elemensky.
Have you considered saying Zavari instead? Suzato-san, that wasn't one of the great deductions I've been hearing so much about, was it? Well, the stories are full of Mr. Sholmes' brilliant deductions, you know. But that did seem a little different somehow. Excuse me, Mr. Sholmes, could you come over here this moment?
Okay, Russian person. I'm gonna distract him by making out with him sloppy style while you make a run for it. Pray, what can I do for you?
It's about your deductions. Would you mind?
Not at all. Go on.
Well, to start with, there's the newspaper article. I think we had the same discussion before, but... Yeah, you accused me of being... These two men look nothing like each other.
Ah, yes, I recall our discussion earlier. And at the time, I believe I told you. You called me that the man is a revolutionary, well able to revolutionize his own appearance.
In fairness to Mr. Sholmes, Mr. Roylett does look more like this man than you do. Yeah, that's another thing! You accused me of being him, so why should I trust you? That's not the point. But it is, Ryunosuke. And another thing, the part about him abducting the ballerina.
Indeed, a truly startling revelation.
Not even a petite woman would fit in that box.
At first glance, the case would appear too small to accommodate a young woman.
Not just at first glance, it is too small, clearly. You'd be lucky to fit a 5-year-old child in that case, even if you pushed really hard. I don't suppose the missing ballerina is a 5-year-old child, is she?
You mean you don't know? No, the young lady is 15.
No, I didn't know. How could I? Well, if she's 15, then 10 years worth of her would be poking out from the case.
Some years ago, I read something pertinent, I believe.
Don't tell me she's sick.
A group of men consuming vinegar daily in order to promote a certain litheness in their bodies.
Are you saying she's a contortionist? Vinegar?
For such a sour bunch, it would surely be simplicity itself to contort oneself in the confines of that small case.
I see. Samus Morphball. Oh dear. You might be thinking of contortionists in the circus, Mr. Sholmes. How does Samus turn into that ball? Is she just very flexible? Is it her Chozo DNA? Is it like some weird feature of the suit? We just don't know. This whole thing has turned into a circus. Mr. Naruhodo, something has occurred to me about Mr. Sholmes' deductions just now. I think his powers of observation are, well, magical. His eyes cut to the heart of the matter almost instantly. It's just where he directs his attention and his logic that seems a little off. Your idea of a little may be a little off itself, Miss Suzato. It's just one or two key words in his deductions that seem to let him down. So I was wondering if we might perhaps tactfully switch them for alternatives. What do you think? Switch some key words in his deduction? Yes, but very tactfully. I feel sure if we could do that, we'd unlock the true genius of Mr. Sholmes' great deductions. Basically, we're doing We're given his homework a peer review.
Precisely the thought that I was going through my own mind.
This man is a lot of work.
At times, I wonder how anyone puts up with me.
It's not that funny.
Ah, and you, my good fellow.
Sorry?
Take a moment to look at your wrists.
My wrists? Oh! Ah! Where are your handcuffs? I'm free! I'm free! Then he busts out, kills everyone. Huh? How did you...
I felt they may hinder your ability to follow me in our dance of deduction.
Are you asking me out on a date? I don't believe it. Mr. Sholmes, you are a marvel.
Ho ho ho. And don't worry, I shall restore the shackles to your penis. Rest when you are finished.
Oh, I'm not worried. In fact, I'd rather stay like this.
So, let us begin. Herlock Sholmes is proud to present his Logic and Reasoning Spectacular.
Now it's time for... Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. It's literally like you're giving his a fucking spell check, like you're reviewing his essay.
So, this dubious-looking Russian, Mr. Roylott, obviously, what catches the eye in the first place is the enormous pair of shears in your hand. Now, we ask ourselves, what could you possibly want with such an implement? The answer, of course, is staring us in the face. You were on the verge of using the shears to cut away the copious beard you sport.
I'm not sure. Would you really use shears like that to cut off a beard? I doubt that's something I'll ever have to worry about. It doesn't quite sit right with me, though. It doesn't seem to be sitting right with Mr. Roylott either. Which means, I suppose, that the deduction is wrong. Let's try to switch a key word here, Naruhodo-san, and see if it helps matters. Alright, but how? I think we should start by taking a long, hard look at Mr. Roylott. I wonder if it's really his beard that he intended to use those shears on. Exactly. If we do manage to find something that seems to fit the sense of Mr. Sholmes' deduction better, then what? Then I'll leave the rest in your capable hands, Naruhodo-san. Why am I the one to do something about this? Well, anyway, let's see if there's anything we could even use to switch around in that last sentence. What exactly was Mr. Roylott really going to use those enormous shears for? Golden locks. What the? What's this? It looks like a cascade of stunning golden locks. No, the color is not the point. The point is, what's it doing on the back of Mr. Roylott's head? And how's it growing out from underneath his thick black hair? Well, yes, that's true. So it's stunningly beautiful and stunningly surprising. Something's definitely not right here.
Yes!
Booruba. Snap. You are on the verge of using the shears to cut away the golden locks you sport.
Indeed. You have identified the precise detail I was intending to expose. Such lush golden hair certainly does not befit an old man.
You're not a man at all. You're a woman. And judging from the length and sheen of your hair...
one still very much in her youth.
Oh no. If only I had managed to cut off my hair. No one would have suspected. The question then begged is this.
Why would you desire to rid yourself of these magnificent locks? Once again, the answer is plain. We have clear evidence to shed light on the matter. I'm sure it needs no further clarification. The evidence that reveals your true identity is the article about the revolutionary.
No, it isn't. Objection. Well, that was a shock. I had no idea that old man was really a young woman in disguise, did you? What? Why are you staring at me like that? Yes, it was a surprise. Naruhodo-san, you'll enjoy this, aren't you? Sorry. You look like you're in your element as you dance around the room deducing the facts with Mr. Sholmes. I'm just doing what we agreed. I'm not having fun or anything. This is strictly business. Not strict... Yes, I understand. Say no more. Well, anyway, let's focus on this next part of Mr. Sholmes' deduction, shall we? The evidence that he's picked out doesn't fit the facts at all now. No, that's true, given that Mr. Royal is actually a woman. Exactly. He, or rather she, can't possibly be this merciless revolutionary. I suppose it's because the deduction as a whole has taken a different direction now. Yes. Let's switch the evidence for something else. Something that fixes the facts as we now understand them. For some reason, this woman needed to try to hide her true identity. I feel as though I've either read or heard about a young woman in a situation like that recently. Alright, I'll do my best. This.
Yes!
The evidence that reveals your true identity is, of course, the article about the ballerina.
That's right, you've hit the nail on the head. Renowned prima ballerina of the Novovich Ballet disappears from Shanghai. It would appear we are finally able to address you by your true name.
Yes, because your true identity is that of the Novovich Ballet's prima ballerina.
Miss Nikolina Pavlova.
Ah! Oh god, did those scissors... Oh, blocked by your Yushanka. I guess you could say it's a Yushanked. Oh. They were fake?
Of course they're fake.
You're right. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. I'm not gonna try to do Russian accents for a girl. I can't do that. But please, I beg you, don't tell anyone. A ballerina on the run. Wrongdoing. So, she couldn't kidnap herself, but clearly someone is inside that box.
Now, as for my second conclusion. You are, at this very moment, on the brink of committing a most grievous crime. And the proof of this crime, over there. Oh yes, Miss Pavlova. Taken unawares, people have a propensity to let their eyes stray, you see. And I assure you, the eyes speak so much more eloquently and honestly than the mouth. The answer we seek lies where the furtive glance falls. The proof of your crime sits before our very eyes. Yes, that traveling case.
Hold it! This woman is the ballerina, and she's right in front of our eyes. So clearly she can't be inside that traveling case as well. No, that's right. It seems she wasn't abducted at all. In which case, what is the crime this young woman is apparently committed? I think it's still kidnapping. There's clearly someone inside that box. You seem to look pleased, Naruhodo-san. Do you like the idea of another chance to dance around with Mr. Sholmes? Oh, they're totally gay. Stop it. Ooh, you like boys, you little boy kisser. Anyway, there must be something else here that solves... Oh my god. Ryunosuke and Sholmes sitting in a tree, solving crime. Okay, what evidence of her crime? Oh, the tiara.
Yes!
The proof of your crime is surely this tiara. I believe this tiara was worn on stage by dancers in the Novovich Ballet, is it not?
Indeed. It would appear to be identical to the tiara pictured here in this newspaper article. And if the reporting is to be believed, it's an item worth 20,000 rubles.
In summary,
The crime you have committed is theft.
oh no!
Yes, you left your ballet troupe unlawfully taking their precious tiara with you.
I have no one, no family, no friends. I am all alone, and I need money. Listen, I completely understand. Property is theft. But I did not steal the tiara. It was a present from, how do you say, an Earl of Prussia. It belongs to me. Did Prussia still exist at this point? I mean, I think it was still a province of Germany. You know, it's not like a sovereign nation at this point. It was part of Germany. This girl is only 15 years old, and she's run away all by herself. She must have been extremely lonely. Alright, I will tell you everything. There is no point to hiding it now.
Come, come, let us not be hasty.
What?
There remains one unsolved mystery about you.
Mystery? What do you mean? What's in the box?
You have staunchly refused to open this traveling case of yours in our presence. It is reasonable to conclude, therefore, that there exists some reason why you wish it to remain closed. Is that not so, Miss Pavlova?
My dear...
My dear girl, there's no sense in playing games with me. Nothing escapes my attention. Indeed, I have a very good idea of the contents of your case, even before I've ever laid eyes on them. Dear me, we are not well suited to a life of crime, are we? Your careless coup de betrays you. Once again, we need only follow your furtive glance to find the answer. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written on the books of the shelf.
What? This wasn't the last time. I think he's just saying shit. He's completely changed tack with his deduction now. I think Mr. Sholmes has adapted his logic to the change in circumstances, don't you? Huh, maybe. But why has he suddenly brought the bookshelf into all this? Seems like he's not just a pretty face. It's just a wild guess, surely. Okay, but honestly, that is pretty much how all these... That's how all deductions in Ace Attorney are done. You just make wild guesses. Just make assumptions. Bullshit assumptions. Wait to see what sticks. You think so? Well, it doesn't seem likely that the reason why this young woman doesn't want to open her case would have been written in a book that doesn't even belong to her. Yes, that's true. But still, Miss Pavlova certainly did cast her eyes in that direction. I noticed it myself. Then there has to be another reason why she won't open her case. And it must be somewhere in the same area, if that's where her gaze was involuntarily drawn. I agree. That's the only answer. Whatever she has hidden inside that case should be revealed by following her gaze in the direction of the bookcase. Rules of passage. Let's read that. These are the rules of passage for travel aboard the SS Buria. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. There was exactly the same notice in our cabin, too. I wonder what happens if you break the rules. Oh dear, I'm sure the punishment will be so severe, Hodo-san. They make you walk the plank. You'd probably be left to drift in the freezing cold ocean. Or shut inside a tiny wardrobe for days on end. So I've actually been serving time for weeks now, have I? I wouldn't mind being locked inside a small case. I'm a kinky fucker. I'm a freak. I'm a freaky guy. Susato, this is a terminal picture, isn't it? Yes, it's very blue. What is it? Someone climbing a steep mountainside? Or descending one, it seems to me. When you've been on the flat sea for a while, maybe you start seeing hills and mountains and everything. Yeah, it's this. Her pet's in that fucking... Her pet's in the box. Yes, the reason why you refuse to open your case is written in the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. I hope I didn't blow up my shitty headset microphone with that pee. Inside that case of yours is something forbidden from the carriage on this vessel. That is the real reason why you refuse to open it, thus revealing its contents. As we've seen, the trunk wobbles from time to time, but no weapon or other dangerous item would move of its own accord. Which leaves but one possibility, Miss Pavlova, inside your traveling case. Nice. It is the last item listed as forbidden in the vessel's rule of passage. A pet! Ah! Possession of a prohibited animal. Yeah, we gay. Keep scrolling. so clearly you aren't you said you were. No, I am not Grimesby Roylott. My real name is Nikolina Pavlova. Everything you said was correct.
You absconded during one of your ballet company's performances in order to escape your homeland. Later that same night, you stole aboard this vessel.
Which couldn't have been easy. The Bury is a huge steamship with a vast crew. Could she really have snuck on board without being noticed? Clearly she bought a ticket.
In order to obscure your true identity, you somewhat recklessly took the guise of an old gentleman. And you intended to sever all links with your past by severing your long hair. Yet to a woman, hair's no trifling matter. My personal recommendation is to leave all alone.
So if it was just you about to cut off your own hair, who was it that let out the scream we heard from outside the cabin?
That variable tinkle of a bell? Why, none other than this young lady, naturally.
More like a full set of pipes, if you ask me. I was so scared when I ran away in Shanghai. I was sure they would come looking for me. That's why I decided to, how do you say, disguise myself? So no one recognized me. Disguise. As a result, you transformed yourself into that questionable old man? I see. I put on the fur hat and fake beard. Then, just before you came in here, I saw in the newspaper, right on the page, there was a picture of me. I was so frightened, I couldn't stop from screaming. I knew that if I didn't change my appearances completely, they would find me. So I decided to cut all my hair as fastly as possible. I picked up the scissors in my hand and...
At that precise moment, we walked in through the annoyingly unlocked cabin door.
Things happen like that sometimes, don't they?
Things do indeed happen like that, from time to time.
Are those two even talking about the same thing? There's just one more thing I'd like to know. Box. What exactly do you have inside your traveling case? You are right. It is my dear friend inside. My only friend in the whole world. Please, don't tell anyone. If the captain finds out, if you say to any of the crew, they're gonna throw the kitten in the river, into the water.
Your secret is safe with us, I assure you, but in return, you must tell us, in as much detail as you muster, about the events of last night.
Yes, all right. I will tell you. Wait a minute, wait a minute. It's her snake. Her pet is the snake. The snake killed him. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? Wasn't it something, Mr. Sholmes' great deduction? It was something, yes.
Indeed, it is incredible. And one more thing.
Oh, yes? What?
Observe your wrists.
My... God damn it. Oh, your hands! Cuffed again. Isn't there a presumption of innocence in Great Britain?
No, my friend, you're thinking of the United States.
God damn it. Can't it really?
Yes, I'm sorry to say that all the judges in our country are also dumb as fuck.
Anyway, let's listen to what Miss Pavlova has to say. I can't go on not knowing. I have to find out what the speckled band that Kazuma-sama wrote about in his diary really was. What happened? Did you know that someone was killed in the cabin next door to this one last night? One of the crewmen told me this morning when I was eating breakfast. The man who died, he was a friend of mine. Oh! That's why we're trying to find out what happened. Did you notice anything unusual last night? Perhaps you heard a strange noise, for example. Perhaps people talking?
Perhaps the ship was absorbed in a wild tempest. Perhaps his steam engine exploded.
Perhaps everyone on board would have noticed if that had happened. Miss Pavlova, is there anything you can tell us? I don't know. I'm sorry, but all I could think about last night was what I had done and whether they would find me. I didn't notice anything that was happening around me. Oh, I see. You've run away from your ballet company, haven't you? The Novovich Ballet? Yes. I am traveling to Great Britain, and from there, I want to go to America. I will never dance again. I want to forget everything about the ballet. I will start a new life.
You wish to forget? A challenging proposition. When you have that striking tiara as a reminder.
But the tiara is mine. I need it to live. Who's gonna sell it? I have no money of my own. The Novovich Ballet gives us only a little food and water, and we must dance all over the world. Capitalism. I had to run away. I had no choice. If I stayed, it would have killed me. So you ran away to protect yourself. Yes, and the crew of the ship, they have all been kind to me. They let me come on board, and they said I could hide in this cabin. They know your secret?
If that is indeed the truth, Miss Pavlova, it creates a most intriguing conundrum.
Yes, it does. What do you think about it, Mr. Naruhodo? Me? Oh, well, yes, of course. I think we should hear Miss Pavlova's explanation. To what conundrum, I'm not sure, but...
Miss Pavlova, allow me to pose you a riddle. According to this newspaper, it was only yesterday that you absconded from the ballet. Now, that being the case, it must have been last night that you boarded this vessel. However, the SS Borea stopped by no port last night.
Oh, that's it, of course.
So how is it, pray tat, you come to be aboard?
Now that I think about it, the crewmen outside the cabin acted very strangely when you mentioned that. It was just after we asked them about when the occupant of this cabin came aboard.
That is not your business.
Yes, you're right. He did seem to be hiding something. An angel descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to the stage. Sorry? What was that? It is how the Russian newspapers described one of my performances. And that is how I came here, too. I descended from the heavens, because I am an angel. What? You fucking flew. Considering English isn't your mother tongue, your description is very vivid. Mr. Sholmes once said, I can never resist a touch of the dramatic. Seems Miss Pavlova is the same.
A genius descended from the heavens, bringing grace and beauty to detection. Words once said about myself.
Don't tell me you can also fly.
A quote from a wonderfully extravagant advertisement. For the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, in fact.
Stop plugging! Yes, Mr. Showy. Anyway, it doesn't look like Miss Pavlova is going to tell us what really happened. Who's your friend? So the friend you mentioned is inside your traveling case, is that right? I don't think animals are allowed on board, according to the rules of passage. Oh, please, don't tell. Don't tell any of the crew. If they found my precious...
Then the burly Russians would bestir themselves in unison to throw you and your case overboard, no doubt.
Ah! So reassuring, Mr. Sholmes. They would never do that to a pretty, woman like you. But what sort of pet is your friend? A little puppy? It is, isn't it? Maybe an adorable little rabbit?
Ha! You kids Russians are led with small rabbits, do you?
Oh, don't they have small rabbits there?
You may well ask. I have no idea. You two are miserable bunglers when it comes to understanding the nature of young ballerinas' friends. Isn't it obvious? It must be a chicken.
Really?
Consider the benefits. A rouse and wake-up call, daily fresh eggs, and when adversity strikes, it could satisfy the needs of sustenance.
So you'd eat your friends. I'll remember that. In Soviet Russia, they literally ate their friends. This is Tsarist Russia. This is before the Russian Revolution. That's what the liberal media wants you to believe.
Well, it would appear this friend's identity is a closely guarded secret, not to be revealed. Ah, ha, 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 ha.
She obviously doesn't quite trust us yet. It's a snake. There's something I should like to show her, I think. Maybe she might be able to shed some light on it. Oh, yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, yeah. Woo, yeah. This is the diary of my friend who passed away. His diary? Yes, and he wrote in it last night before he died. Something a little unusual. It reads... 1:23 a.m., I can hear a faint whistling sound. And then a few minutes later, 1:35 a.m., what looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? I don't understand. It was the snake! Give him the rope! Sir, but he is a rope. We can't exactly hang him. Damn it. It's strange, isn't it? But the ventilator he mentions joins to this cabin, you see. It's up there on the wall. In other words, this cabin and the victim's cabin are connected together. Oh. Miss Pavlova? Has something occurred to you? Does the speckled band mentioned mean something to you? Or the whistle sound, perhaps? No. I don't know anything. Oh.
Excuse me, Mr. Roylott.
Yes, what? Wow, she's fast.
Yeah, Captain would like to speak with you. You must come to Captain's quarters at once, please.
All right, I will come now. What? You must leave. Now. Oh, no, it's fine. Don't mind us. Yes, please don't worry yourself, Mr. Roylott.
Get out! Ah! The passengers said out, or you want me to throw you out?
Looks like you will have to leave investigating this cabin until later. What a pity. You fuck. And so we lost our chance. Having still not managed to investigate Miss Pavlova's cabin, we were unceremoniously chased out. That is to say, we were quite literally picked up and thrown into the passageway outside. Oh!